Reside. Horse or dice with my catch a guide from the haunted arcade. Our stories unfold. Dark mirror men in Alaska and secrets retold. Welcome to the Full Grown Pizza Podcast, where conspiracies weave and legends outlast. From cryptids to theories, our journey is vast. Today we uncover the dark pyramid's past. So tune in close like curiosity's dear. Through the unknown where answers appear.
All right. Episode 11 of the Full Grown Pizza Podcast. Welcome. This week, we're going to be led by Mike. He's going to be talking about the Dark Pyramid conspiracy, which I personally have never heard of before. I have no idea what this is or anything about it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's not a well-known story, so...
Yeah, so it'll be kind of cool.
The only thing I know about it is what I asked ChatGPT this morning.
Okay,
know
so
if it's in Alaska or Antarctica.
here's the thing. So a little behind the scenes, when I was making the description and stuff, I was like, okay, give ChatGPT, what's a good description I could do, and it told me that it was Antarctica, and then when Tori was making the music for this, it said Alaska. And so we're
Actually, there's two, from what I know, there's two dark pyramids, but I'm talking about the one in Alaska this time. So.
Holy shit, there's two.
That's why I thought it was Antarctica. I remember hearing that as one of the...
We'll do that story later on. That's an interesting story, too.
Okay. So I went through and I changed the description and stuff to Alaska and everything, because I was like, I don't know what it is. And when I Googled it, I was like, all right, when in doubt, Google. And everything that I saw at first said Alaska. So I was like, okay, it's probably Alaska. Yeah, so anyways, it'll be kind of cool to talk about something that we don't really know anything about. So maybe some interesting theories that we cook up in the Full Grown Pizza Podcast today. If you guys are watching, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. We're actually pretty close to on time this week, so that's pretty cool. And definitely hit the notification bell, because sometimes we're not on time. And... that'll help you guys know when we go live. We go live every Sunday around this time. And yeah, cool. Let's get into it whenever you guys are ready.
All right, so this is a story that, like I said, is not very well known. And one of the things about it is that it's supposed to be a really big military cover-up. So maybe that's why it's not so well known. I mean, even if you go on Wikipedia, it doesn't have anything about it on it. So that's a pretty...
oh, really? No Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I looked on Wikipedia for it, and there's no Wikipedia.
Where'd you find the info then? What the?
I watched this. There's a really good channel on YouTube called the Y-Files, and they had a really good video about it.
Huh, okay.
And then, have you guys ever heard of Linda Moulton Howe?
No. She sounds like a nice lady, though.
She's a big reporter in the UFO realm. She did a lot of the cow mutilation videos and stuff like that, reporting on that.
Okay.
So she's pretty well known in the UFO area. All right, so the story behind the Dark Pyramid is that in 1992, there is a intelligence officer who's stationed in Alaska. And first, So in 1992, he gets stationed in Alaska, and so he's an intelligence officer. He wants to know more about the area, so he knows where he's doing, where he's going. So
Sure.
he goes to like the intelligence office, and he takes all the maps that they have, and lays them out on the table. And he notices there's a big spot next to like I think it's Mount McKinley or Mount Henley. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
McKinley?
Anyway, there's a big
Yeah.
there's a big spot that says not surveyed, which is weird because all of Alaska was supposed to be surveyed a long time ago.
Right.
So yeah, it says somewhere west of Mount McKinley. There's a huge area that's has no geographical features on the map. It's just a big white area. And it's like that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And then he comes back later. That was actually like when he first got there. And then a couple years later, he was watching this report on TV, a news report. They said it was on the 6 o'clock the 6 o'clock time thing, the 6 o'clock news. And it said that China had done blown up a nuclear bomb underground, and the seismic activity could be felt all the way to Alaska. And they said that when that happened, there was a strange like echo under Mount McKinley that showed this huge pyramid that the seismologist picked up.
How'd they pick up the pyramid with the seismology stuff?
So by the way, the echo. So you know when the vibrations from the nuclear bomb,
yeah,
it like bounced off the pyramid and caused extra vibration. So it like picked up like a second earthquake.
They could tell. Okay, yeah, they could tell something was like underneath there.
Yeah, just by the way that the seismic waves went from the thing. So
yeah, okay.
It didn't like flow through like it would. It bounced off of something and went in a different direction. So
weird. Okay.
And then so he thought that was strange because it was in the exact area that showed nothing on the map. So he was gonna record the 11 o'clock news so he could get like a record of it, right?
Right.
And so he's waiting for 11 o'clock news. He has a VCR set up because 1992, and they never played on the news. He's like, that's strange. I mean, it's a big thing.
Yeah, you'd think they'd talk about that.
And so he goes to this news station and he talks to some of the interns there. And he said that one of the interns there kind of pulls him to the side. Is like, they told us that there's 2 guys that came in and told us not to run that story because it was about nuclear things. But
was
they
this
really
like a Men in Black sort of deal?
Yeah, it was like one of the first Men in Black things. Yeah.
Really?
So
what?
Yeah.
Oh. Dude, I'm so interested in like the whole Men in Black thing because I don't remember all the stories very well, but man, there are some crazy stories of like the Men in Black showing up at people's places or showing up at certain areas, and you're like, what the fuck?
There's a lot of crazy stories about Men in Black, so we'll have to get into that eventually
Yeah,
too. So.
definitely a future episode, Men in Black. Well, that's crazy. So this was one of the first kind of Men in Black things, or
one of the first recorded ones that I know about. I know they've been around for a while, but this is one of the ones.
They must have been, yeah.
I mean, 92 is quite a while ago. I mean,
wow.
I'm sure I've heard about things before then, but they're not really still well known then.
Okay, so they went to the TV station where like, hey, you need to scrap the tape of this, or like you can't tell this story. Or...
Yeah, you can't. You got to kill the story. You can't run this anymore because they said it was because about the nuclear thing in China, but everyone else thought it was mostly about covering up with that seismic pickup they felt in Alaska.
Right. Okay. Were there any other people like that heard this story that were like wondering what was going on? Like, did it become a, or was it just?
I mean, he doesn't know because this is from his viewpoint. So,
oh sure,
he's in Alaska, so he doesn't.
It is 1992, I guess. So it's not like the
internet.
There's no social media really.
Yeah, there's no social media or anything. It's not like he's gonna talk about it on Instagram or something.
Right.
Going on, so.
And I would imagine if you had one outlet covering this story, you probably had the other outlets covering this story, and then they were probably all told the same thing. Like, oh,
I think they covered the nuclear part, but they didn't talk about the seismic because the one of the things that they said about on the 6 o'clock was that they picked up that weird activity under Mount McKinley from the seismic thing. So gotcha. I think that's the part they covered up.
Gotcha. Okay, so did they ever do anything like any excavation or exploration or trying to figure out what it was?
This guy keeps going on. He's like, well, that's strange. So he goes on, and then he gets after you get stationed in Alaska, you get stationed at Fort Meade, which is where the NSA is headquartered at. And he has top secret clearance. And he said that he was just looking through the NSA's records, and he didn't even specify that he wanted to look for like a dark pyramid in Alaska. He said he just went to the librarian or the head archivist.
Yeah.
He's like, give me anything archaeological about Alaska. I was like, well, if you wanted to look that, yeah, look in these stacks and this stack. And
Yeah.
so he's going to these stacks. He grabs the stuff that he wants. He's about to go. He goes into the reading room. He's about to open it up, and then two guys just show up behind him.
Oh dang.
Another men in black, and they're
Dang.
like, and one of them says, "You have no need to know for this, so we're going to take this back." And the other guy says, "Now listen, this is what he says. They don't want you to know about this. They don't want us interfering with this." And then he takes everything. They even make him leave the building.
Really? Dude,
Yeah.
that's like a movie scene right there. Like I'd be like, who's they? You know, what are you talking about, man? Like,
And
I
like,
can do what I want, bro.
They, the government, or there's something else going on here?
Who is they and who are you?
And how did you find out that I was looking into this?
For one, I would be like, all right, dude, you gotta show me your credentials or something. Like, who are you to tell me not to look at this? I got permission to come look at this shit. I'm gonna come look at it until you tell me.
Is that Men in Black pronouns?
You're kind of quiet. I think you got to talk into the mic.
Said maybe they was the pronoun.
Oh, that's true.
Men in Black right there.
You're right.
Like,
maybe it was
they
the pronouns.
Wants you to stop looking at.
Yeah.
They don't like this.
Maybe because of how they identify, they don't want to use their actual
They're
name. They didn't want a dead
then,
name, so of course they're not going to say
It
the
sounds
name.
like a kind of fun. Change my pronouns to they. Like the same they all the time. So people are just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't like. They don't like how you're walking down the sidewalk today. Like,
Well, that's crazy. So, like, what did he see before the people showed up? Like, did he actually get anything?
He didn't even get into the papers, but he said he doesn't really have any eyewitnesses to it, but he said that the whole area there was weird and he couldn't get into it. So there's another guy called, I think it's Lee Perryman.
Okay.
And he was a electronical engineer for the Navy.
Okay.
And he does a lot of, so he worked for Bell Labs. I don't know if you know about Bell Labs.
I've heard of that name before, yeah.
So Bell Labs was one of the main people that did backward engineering for like alien tech.
Okay.
They're the big name. So if you go, like they invented the transistor for computers,
Okay.
and they said they got that from Roswell.
Really?
That's what the conspiracy is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Bell Lab took the technology they got from Roswell, back engineered it, and came out with transistors.
Huh. Okay.
So this guy is an electrical engineer. He works at Bell Labs, and he's got top secret clearance.
Mm-hmm.
And one day they're like, we need you to go up to Alaska. We want you to check out this thing. So he goes up to Alaska, and he gets on his bus with blacked out windows, white bus, no markings on it, with a bunch of other people.
Hmm.
And they drive for like 6 hours from the coast of Alaska.
Okay.
And they come out in the middle of nowhere, and all they see is a small shed with two soldiers standing outside of it.
Hmm.
So they're like really cold, and they want to get out of the wind, so they go in their shed.
Yeah.
And the soldiers are like, all right, hold on to the bar. We're going to go down this elevator.
Dude, I would hate that job. I would hate to be stationed there. Could you imagine getting a government like security job or whatever, and they're like, all right, and you're stationed in Alaska in the middle of nowhere at a shed.
Guy in an elevator.
Jeez.
Like,
why, seriously, why can't I just be in the shed at all times and make sure no one comes in?
Put a window out there or something, you know?
Yeah, I know.
See, like movies or whatnot, it's like that's like if you don't do this, I'll have you positioned in Alaska or something like that. So
Yeah.
Like
that's what they got.
Yeah, that's like the
But the thing is
now I
about
got
these
to go to
guys
the
is,
elevator in Alaska.
so another story that talks about it is that these guys they're like in black uniforms. They had no insignia on them, no name tags, no rank. So they're like a special ops kind of unit. So
what if
it's
though?
like super special ops.
Now I'm getting into the theorizing now. Like, what if these guys are aliens? Because you got to be a special crazy kind of motherfucker to like sit out in Alaska during the cold in the middle of nowhere
Well, I'm
for
sure
your
they,
whole
they knew the
shift.
bus was coming. They didn't stand out there the whole time. You know, they're probably like,
I
oh,
would hope not.
oh, they're
Otherwise,
coming. They better make sure. I mean, look at us so they know somebody's out here, so they're not think somebody
yeah.
get dropped off. You know.
Okay, that's better.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so they're going down this elevator. He says it took a long time to go down the elevator, so it was a couple hundred feet down the elevator, right?
Yeah.
And they get down. They get out of the elevator, and it's like a big government building. You know.
Yeah.
Have you ever been? You've been through government buildings, like an organic
Yeah.
government building, like cement floors, beige walls.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just numbers on the doors.
Yep.
And so they're walking down this long hall, and there's just numbers on the doors. It's a long hall, and they come up to this big steel door. They said it was big enough you could drive like a car through.
Okay.
So maybe like 8x12, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said somebody gets on the phone. This is from the guy from the Wi-Fi, so you should watch it. He goes really into depth with this, but so the guy gets on the phone. There's a red phone by the door, and he says something to the phone, and the doors start opening up. And the electrical engineer says that the door was about a foot thick. So they said they're trying to protect them from something.
Hey, well,
He thought it might be like a nuclear fallout or something, like radiation.
yeah. Will you
So
put the
that's why
name
they
of
do the
that
doors
channel?
thing.
Will you put the name of that channel in the Discord so I can tag them in the video just so they
Yeah, give me a
I'll
little
put them in the description after we end the stream, but just so we're giving them their credit. And so everybody else can go find the video too.
Yeah, because it's an interesting video. He does a really good job with it. He's got a lot of good videos too in there.
Cool. Okay.
So he goes in this room behind this big door, and he sees a huge pyramid. He says it's twice the size of the pyramid in Giza, the big one.
Hmm.
So that's
Really?
already huge.
That's
yeah,
huge. Yeah.
he said it was all black, and he said the angles was 48 degrees, or not 45, which is what you would expect
What
from
the
a
other
pyramid.
ones were. Yeah.
But he said the angle of the thing was very important. They had to do something with the electrical generation of it.
Really?
Now, this goes back to the other video we did about the sound generation, how that pyramid was supposed to be a electrical generator.
Right. Right.
And if you go to, Joe Rogan just did a video with, let me see if I can find his name a little bit. He just did a video with this guy who goes into full details, not what I wanted, detail about how they generate electricity with the pyramid.
The pyramids.
Yeah. And they say there's also a conspiracy theory that back in the day, like, so this guy in the Y-Files said that it's called the Pyramid of Cheops,
Okay.
right? He said that was built by the Anunnaki 130,000 years ago,
Huh. Okay.
which is crazy.
That's crazy. That's like way before the Egyptian ones, right? Like,
Yeah. They think it's about 8,000 years old.
Yeah.
And so he said that it was built by the Anunnaki 130,000 years ago.
What?
And it was also part of a big, net of electrical power plants that would power up a bunch of other places. Okay, so he did, Joe Rogan did, on episode 2142, he did an interview with Christopher Dunn, and he talks about how, he goes into the actual science behind how the Great Pyramid was a electrical generation machine. And basically it takes the frequency of the Earth, and it takes that, and it creates vibration, and the vibration vibrates the pyramid at a certain frequency. And if you put certain chemicals in there, which is what he thinks they did, because they never found any bodies in the pyramids.
Right.
They thought it was because of grave robbers, but I mean, they found sarcophagus, but he said that was for like a chemical to be put in there. And you take this chemical and this other chemical, and you mix them together, and then you do a certain frequency, and it causes vibrations, and then it takes something from the solar, and it causes electricity. And they said that's why they said there was something else at the very tip of the pyramid, I think, that helped focus it.
Okay.
They focused it to whatever network they had for these electricity things.
So like the Black Pyramid are you thinking like this was an optimized, like more modern version that they created
So there's two
underground,
theories
or-
behind the Dark Pyramid. One is that it could be Tesla did it.
Okay.
There's a Tesla experiment that the government's monitoring ever since he made it.
Hmm.
And another one, which we'll go into, is that it was made by aliens.
Hmm.
So this guy, he's an electrical engineer. He goes into this pyramid. He says it looks like stone, but it's made of a different material. It looks like black stone. But he said
Okay.
it generated enough electricity to power the United States.
Wow.
The
So
entire
what do you
United
think?
States.
Like, what do you think this was made for? Like, okay, so if it's
So-
a Tesla thing, like I could imagine this is Tesla's idea of like giving everybody power.
Yeah,
because
this could
he
be
was-
one of
he
his,
was big
he was
on that.
big into wireless, electricity.
Yeah, he
He
was
wanted to
big
give
on
everybody
like,
electricity wirelessly for free.
yeah, right.
So
for sure.
another thing is that I don't know if you know this, but in Alaska, there's another triangle there. A lot of people disappear. It's just like Bermuda Triangle, but it's in Alaska.
No, I didn't know
Have you
that.
ever heard of that?
I
So
have.
there's Alaska Triangle, and it's like I think it has even more disappearances than the Bermuda Triangle. But
Really?
not as many people go through the Alaska Triangle.
Yeah,
obviously,
sure,
but
sure.
I think by percentage wise, it's about the same, or even more people disappear.
Okay.
So they're saying that the pyramid is what's causing this triangle, and they also say that the triangle is one of the most. You get like the guy in the Y video said there's like 65,000 spottings of UFOs in that triangle since a certain time. And it's like one of the most
Oh, dude,
highly populated. And they said they're using the pyramid as a recharging station.
Well, I wonder. Okay, so that's what I was gonna mention too. Is there was a movie, gosh, what's it called? The Fourth Kind, I think. Did you guys ever watch that movie? It's with the lady who claimed to like be abducted and all that stuff, and there's got
Yeah, that's some freaky when
Dude.
she's up hypnotized and
oh
like,
man, that movie. Okay, that movie actually genuinely did freak me out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I watched that and I was like, especially because she looks like
she's being tormented while she's
looks
doing.
tormented. Yeah, she
Yeah.
looks very tormented in the
She's
real.
not having a good time reliving those.
No, because there was like real therapy, like footage and stuff of her like talking to people, and she looks bad, dude. Like she looks bad. And anyways, that happened in Alaska, right? I don't know what town that was in, but in the beginning of the movie, it's talking about how like, oh, this city has had this many. It's had like a whole bunch of alien
Yeah,
abduction
Alaska's
cases
really a
and
hot
stuff.
spot for UFO activity.
Yeah, and it kind of would make sense if there's
Yeah, if
you know,
there's a
what's the
recharging
reason?
station there, then yeah, maybe they're all going there to recharge and taking in the sights while they're there. So
Right, because there's not a whole lot in Alaska, at least that I know of, that I can imagine an alien would want to go to, other than remote areas with people that you could abduct, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know. You
I mean
know,
it
like-
is isolated. Maybe you want to get away from the humans for a while.
Yeah, it is
just
kind of
like that.
isolated, but it's also kind of a hostile environment, at least for us. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they're more equipped to deal with that climate, I guess. But that would
Okay,
make
so
sense.
this guy
Yeah.
Lee Perriman, I think his name is, because I think it was his son that actually got the story. Let me see if I can find his actual name. But anyway, he goes back to his house after he looks at this pyramid and goes through it, and he's been working on it. He said there's lots of like control rooms and stuff like that that are controlled by the government. And he goes
Yeah.
back to his house and he makes like a model of it made out of aluminum.
Okay.
And his son says that he runs electricity through it, and his dad used that to actually power the whole farm and house with just that little triangle.
Huh.
It was like a tiny one, like 5 inches or something like that.
So do you think it's like the material? Did they like do
It's some
something?
kind of magnifier for electricity, which is strange.
Some kind of. Do you think it's like a natural resource, or do you think that maybe they like chemically
I think
like altered
like-
it based
I
on
think
the pyramid? Like,
based on like
stuff.
pyramid shape and what it's made out of. Maybe it does some kind of. So it's supposed to harness the frequency of the Earth and use that to like magnify the electricity that you put to it. So
Well, I could
know.
imagine something like that. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a scientist. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But but I can imagine, like, if you think of a square, right, and you have like a frequency running through it, if you're hitting, the left side, it's just going to go to the right side or whatever. You have to hit it at a certain angle for it to continue to
Yeah.
bounce around. But with a triangle, right, like you've only got the three corners, so it pretty much doesn't matter where the frequency is going to bounce off of. It's always going to continue to bounce in like a weird direction because it's a three-sided, there's three corners there. So I can imagine
Yeah.
maybe a triangle is better for like frequency resonation or whatever, because even when you like well, I mean, no, I was going to bring up an example, but it wouldn't really work. So, but yeah, I mean, that would make sense to me anyways, if you're using some kind of triangular object to like optimize
it.
the resonance of a
Yeah.
certain frequency or whatever. But
I can't find his name, but I think it was a pyramid, but I could be getting that wrong.
so anyways, you're saying this guy, he had like a mini pyramid or whatever? Like
yeah, a
made
little
of the
pyramid
same-
that he made out of aluminum that he said that worked exactly the same way and could power
Huh.
his entire farm and house just with that little bit.
Well, I wonder what that actually means. Like, how much power did he actually need for his farm and house?
I mean, out of a little cube that's just running barely any electricity.
And
to,
at the
that's
same
pretty good.
time, like, does that mean that he could have all the lights on in the house, or does that mean it's like one light at a time? Like turn on this light, turn it
Yeah, I
off,
guess
go in the
the
next room, turn on this
natural
light, turn
water
it off.
that's coming out or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So like, I would be curious to know like how effective that actually is, especially if it's made
Yeah.
out of aluminum and not whatever this black stone stuff is that
Yeah.
the that's underneath Alaska apparently. So, anyways,
So another thing that the guy on the Wi-Fi was brought up that was really interesting is that, have you guys ever heard of Operation I forget. Damn it, I forgot it.
no,
Anyways, an
I haven't
operation-
heard of that one.
It's an operation where they use remote viewers to look at things like
Oh,
Russian assets.
yes, I have heard of that.
I know it. I don't know what it's called, but I heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called either, but I have.
It is Operation Stargate.
Yep, I've heard of that one. Yes.
Operation Stargate. So they used Operation Stargate, and one of them was like, "Okay, can you find the Dark Pyramid, and what do you see?" And then she said that she went and she saw the shed, and she went down to the elevator, and she saw a group of people, and they're in that building like the Lee Pyramid guy described.
Yeah.
And he said that there's a bunch of guys getting a lecture, and they're getting a lecture from an alien. A humanoid alien just standing there and giving them a
frick, dude. Oh, okay. That's
And
cool.
so that is interesting. And he said that
Okay, wait, hold on. The person they asked this question to, did they just ask them, can you find the Dark Pyramid? Or did they know anything about the Dark Pyramid ahead of time? Like, did they, what?
usually what they do is they'll give them coordinates.
Okay.
They're like, can you find this coordinate? And what do you see?
Okay, so as far as this person knew, most likely, they didn't know anything about conspiracies tied to aliens
They
or...
didn't even know if it was in Alaska or anything. They just know,
Yeah, dude.
look at this location.
That's cool.
And she also said she saw the pyramid, she saw the electrical generation, and she saw that a bunch of the control rooms that had aliens in there helping the people.
That's cool, dude.
Work the station. So that's an interesting thing that they said. But
Yeah.
I mean, remote viewing is
But then,
interesting.
okay,
but I don't know
right.
how.
Well, here's the thing
reliable
with
it is.
exactly, right? Because there are ones that I think are pretty reliable. Like there's things that you can prove, but then there's the things where it's like, okay, without independently being able to verify
Yeah.
what you just said, as far as we know, is a hoax, right?
Yeah.
And but it's also strange that they would come up with a certain kind of hoax, like an alien hoax, when they don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
They
She saw the same thing as this other guy, and she didn't hear anything about him. And
Yeah, exactly. Like if you don't know anything about the environment, you don't know anything about you don't know that it's a government facility, you don't know that it's whatever. Like it is kind of strange that they would come up with that kind of theory.
like corroborating the story.
It seems like a strange hoax. Like it wouldn't make that much sense for someone to come up with. But again, there's always the possibility that they made it up. So I don't know, man. That's kind of wild. But like, what do you think that lecture was about? Like, if you were taking a lecture from an alien, what do you think they'd be teaching you?
They said it was more like an orientation. So this is where you do, this is where you go, this is what you do with the machine.
About the building, like
about the facility, about the
pyramid
pyramid. Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
So,
Okay, so do
So
you
I think,
think it's a gas station for alien for
I mean, it
aliens?
makes sense if there's a lot of like UFO activity in Alaska,
It's an
and there is this
interstellar gas
triangle.
station. Yeah.
So there's another
like
story about this guy who's
like
he's
in Men in
also in
Black or like
Alaska.
a
He's
airport.
at a
Yeah.
so this guy he's at a bar, right? He just retired from the military. He's talking to this other guy who's a pilot.
Yeah.
The guy's like, they're just talking, trading war stories or whatever. And he's the other guy's like, you want to get back into it, right? You want to go on a flight or something? He's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And then so he's like, we got this flight going to this other station here in a couple hours. You can hitch a ride with us. And so he goes on this helicopter, and they're flying a couple hours like east or west of whatever the base is.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, so the pilot turns to him and says, all right, we're like 5 miles out. Everything's gonna go crazy in here. Don't freak out. It's fine. We know what we're doing. And so they keep flying,
Okay.
and like all the radar goes off, all the electrical systems go crazy. The compass starts flipping around like a fan.
Yeah, like spinning around. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he says the actual engine shut off, but he got it back on. So that's pretty crazy. And then they land at the thing. And that's where they see the soldiers in the black uniforms that have no insignia, no nameplates. And they're just unloading
Okay.
supplies from the helicopter, and then they just take off again. And they don't really go too much into detail.
I
about
wonder,
that.
like, and I've never thought about this before, but like, I kind of wonder, do you guys think the whole Men in Black thing is like a global effort, or do you think it's like the United States military or government? Like, do you think that all of the governments across the world, or maybe at least the main players, US, China, Russia, or whatever, do you think they're all somewhat involved? Like, it's kind of an international agency like the UN, except it's hush hush?
I
Or do
think
you
if there
think
was like a UFO conspiracy, it's more international than just America.
that's what I would think, because that's more of a planetary thing. Like, if it was
Yeah.
if it was an alien,
And there's
if-
other tales of Men in Black not in their country. Like I think there's one down in Venezuela where they came down and they took a bunch of stuff.
right. So it just makes me wonder, like, do you think this is the US government just like sending people around or whatever? Or do you think this is like we're all involved? I mean, Alaska is not too far from Russia, globally speaking, and so then you got, it could be them too, right? And
Yeah.
if you've got no insignia, no nothing, that also kind of makes me think that maybe you're a part of some other organization that's not necessarily the US government. Maybe it was started by the US government or whatever, but
Yeah.
maybe
Do you think
everybody's
the Men in
involved.
Black are part of the U.S. government, or are they just associated with the U.S. government?
Well, I wonder that because there's all sorts of like government programs that aren't known to Congress and stuff like that, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like when Blue Book like was announced or whatever, this was like a secret kind of government operation that nobody freaking knew about, right? It was like
Yeah.
it was a hush hush thing, and then
Like,
So it
wasn't
ju-
that ATIP going on for a couple of years before the Congress found out about it?
right, yeah, it just makes me think that there's probably a lot of things like that that are going on under the behind the scenes, and I would imagine if the aliens are involved in, let's say, Alaska, then they're probably involved in Russia and China. And I would think that, assuming it's the same alien species or whatever, they probably have the same goal in being here.
Yeah. Same
And
agenda.
they would have communication with each other. And if they're going to do that, they'd probably say, all right, look, like we all got to be on the same page here if everything's going to work out. So I don't know. Like, it makes me wonder, but I don't know, man. But then at the same time, it's like, if you're doing something that secret, you probably wouldn't want to have an insignia or anything, right? Like, you don't want to be.
Yeah, and you don't
want
if
any
somebody gets caught, you can say, "Oh, we don't know who that guy is." He's
Well, you just
doing
don't want
whatever,
any
you know.
identifiable anything, right? You don't want someone to see something and remember that and then post it online and then somebody figures something out, So I don't know.
Okay, so the story's not over yet. Okay,
Okay.
so a couple years ago, there was this guy named Nathan Campbell who heard about the Dark Pyramid. So he finds out the coordinates, and he charters a plane to fly to the coordinates. I think it's called a Denali Wildlife Park or something like that. And there's a lake in there. I forget what the lake is called, but he has this guy flying to this lake in Denali. Oh, Kerry Lake. So Kerry Lake in Denali Wildlife Reservation. And he says, all right, I'll be back in 4 months. Come pick me up. So he said he was experienced. He had good equipment and everything. He knew what he was doing. So
Okay.
I was like, all right, fine. I'll be back in 4 months to catch you or whatever.
Yeah.
And he also had a satellite phone so he could talk to his family and stuff like that. So he'll be totally stranded.
That's good.
So he's there for, I guess, let's see. I didn't say how long he was there, but eventually they get one last message from him saying, I'm going to get water. And he's never seen or heard from again.
Wow.
So
Huh. Okay.
that's kind of strange.
Yeah. So
I mean,
so
you go
did he
looking
just
for a secret UFO government base, and he disappeared.
I mean, he could have gone looking for that and then found a bear or something.
Yeah, I mean that's
that's possible.
That's
too.
not outside the realm of possibility. I mean,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna find a bear before you find a dark pyramid.
That's
so.
probably true. But dang,
But it's still interesting that somebody goes and looks for it and they disappear.
yeah. I wonder if you could like Google Earth this area, and then obviously you would
They
you
do
would
that
see
on the that's why are the Y files. They Google Earth it, and you can see. Some people say you see like a outline of a government thing, but I didn't see anything. But they give you the coordinates, so you do it yourself. So
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun to do.
I don't know if I do it because maybe the Men in Black will show up at my house. Like, what are you looking for this other?
That'd make for a good podcast episode. Just be like, hey, holy
All
crap.
right, we're gonna Google
That
Earth this
time-
place.
The time that the Men in Black showed up at my condo. Like, what the heck?
Would they even show up on camera though?
No. I mean, I
They
would.
said, like,
I wouldn't have any video
things,
evidence.
like in that one dark web episode show movie,
Oh yeah. Yep.
Unfriended or something like that too.
Yeah, dude, that'd be wild. But I mean, there's no way, right? Like if you put out a podcast episode like those guys, and then you give the coordinates, obviously everybody is going to be doing that, or a lot of people are going to be doing that. So the Men in Black aren't going to visit everybody's house. Like that's just dumb. They wouldn't. do that.
Live also.
But
It'd be like-
I imagine. Yeah, if you Google
They
Earth
wouldn't
it-
be concerned about this like they have one viewer.
right, exactly. They'd be like, these guys have one viewer,
And
one
it's
like.
one of them watching it.
It's probably one of exactly, probably one of them.
Oh, it is. It's me.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm watching this
Good
and
to
I
know.
like this already.
Yeah, but it's like
I'm our biggest fan.
wow, our biggest fan. You've been here for every episode. Wow, you've watched every episode. Good
I
job.
know.
It says there's also another guy who disappeared around there too. He was living in an abandoned bus, and he just disappeared.
The Into the Wild guy?
No,
Huh. Still,
he says he was poisoned.
he was
Into the Wild
poisoned?
guy? Did
He
he
was
eat a
eaten by
bad
a
potato?
Are you talking about the other guy? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's what he says.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like that's like the question. Like, if you were in the woods, do you want to run into a bear or the dark pyramid?
I would want to run into the Dark Pyramid because at least I see something cool before I die. Like seeing a bear eat me.
Would you
Eat
like
me
to
alive
stumble
is
upon
not
the
that
bear
cool.
or
That
a
was
dark
true.
Yeah.
conspiracy theory of
Yeah.
a government facility?
At least I would go out like being, in awe of something rather than freaking screaming in pain, dying.
Maybe they didn't die. Maybe they just turned into like they had to live there forever and work the generator. So
You know what? That's not a bad hiring method, Anytime someone
Yeah.
shows up, you just take them into custody and you say, "All right, we'll
Like,
give
you're
you."
curious
Yeah.
fella.
It was
Either
the
we
Alaska
give you a
Triangle. What
job.
can you say? And now that the Alaska Triangle strikes again, this guy disappeared. Oh well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, "All right, we give you a
I mean,
job."
you already got the
or
cover
you
story,
don't."
so
Right. Exactly. They're like,
Here's
well,
my
we fake your death.
maybe
You
that's
can't.
where a lot of people go to. They're like, that guy went to the Alaska Triangle. He disappeared, but he really got
Here's
put down with
My
dark
my
pyramid over.
theory.
Yeah, he's actually a
My-
janitor down at the Black Pyramid.
My
Yeah.
theory about this.
Mops the
thing.
floors down. So
All right, what's your theory?
Well, first thing is that it's probably like Men in Black situation where the Black Pyramid is basically kind of like a way station or something for like alien international travel, so it's more like kind of like an airport sort of like thing,
Yeah.
or a recharge station. But it's also the Alaskan pyramid or triangle. It's same as the Bermuda Triangle, which is
Uh-huh.
also same as the Dragon's Triangle. So this makes you think, what's underneath those triangles? Is there another dark
Right. Are
pyramid
there
in the
pyramids
ocean?
there?
Yeah. And is there a pyramid or is there a triangle above Antarctica? If there's a pyramid there too.
Well, haven't
Because
they
I mean,
haven't they
I
said
bet there is
there's
probably a pyramid in Antarctica, but nobody travels through there enough for, you know.
right. Yeah.
a triangle, yeah.
Haven't they said like in the Bermuda Triangle, for example, there's like a lot of electromagnetic kind of
Yes.
Yeah.
stuff going on there? Well, that would
The
have to
same
come
thing with
from
the
something,
Dragon's
right?
Triangle.
And not just
Yeah,
That's what
just like the Alaska Triangle, you got
Yeah, that's what
compasses
they say
going
in the story.
crazy.
Yeah.
right. So that would make
So just
sense if you've got some massive like power structure down below the ocean in that area
Yeah.
that his
Apparently we had like 4
Well,
different stations.
The Bermuda area has the deepest part of the ocean, so if you're an alien and you could have the right technology to go down there with no problem, wouldn't that be a good place to put like a USO or a USO station? You know,
yeah.
because people can't go down there, so I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to
Ocean's
worry
a
about
great
being
place to hide.
interrupted.
Yeah, dude, yeah, the ocean's like completely
It was
unexplored.
so nice they built
Yeah.
it twice and they made one around Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And
if
then,
you think
like-
about it, you're gonna want more than one fueling station. So you have one in Alaska, you have one in Egypt, you have one in Japan, you have one in Antarctica.
Yeah.
You know,
like
but if this
Antarctica's
looks
like
busy, you want to go to the other one. You know, so
a
you don't wanna wait
no-fly
long.
zone
Right,
as
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. And
Well,
And did
and then
that leads to the thing about talked about in this podcast of the what we did, but like the people the aliens that showed up in the Miami Mall and how
Oh,
if you
yeah.
flip the coordinates around, ends up in Alaska or Antarctica. So it's like,
Yeah,
there's the station down there. Somebody got the coordinates backwards and they ended up in the mall.
oh yeah. No, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. No, I want like it would make sense to have multiple different stations if it is some kind of like, hey, we're charging up kind of thing. But it does make me wonder like why some are above ground, like the Egyptian ones, and some are below ground. Like I can imagine below ground because you're trying to be hidden or whatever, but above ground,
Oh yeah.
is that just because back then it was like
well, maybe
normal
that's
for
the
them
best place
show
to
up?
focus the frequency. You know, like maybe you have to do it at a certain altitude in certain areas so you get the bulk of the frequency where it's most optimized. You know,
That's true
like maybe in
too.
Alaska, it's a deeper frequency. It comes from a different area, so you have to be underground.
Right.
Maybe in Egypt, it's a higher level of generating the frequency, so
Well,
you have to
and,
be
like-
underground.
This also lends to like ancient alien theories about aliens building the pyramids.
Right.
Because basically they're like, we need charging station, build these pyramids for us. They're like, oh, these aren't working really well. They need to be
How-
a certain type of stone. It needs to be in
Yeah.
a colder climate.
Yeah, maybe it was
Right.
the first generation.
Well, that's what
and
I
they-
was
they
thinking,
improved
too.
upon it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is maybe they started with the Egyptian ones because they were like, well,
Mhm.
this is what we have
The
to work with.
Egyptians, the Aztecs, and everybody else that builds
Right,
pyramids.
they started with those above
Which is,
ground
like,
ones.
super weird because like
But then
It
they
is
all
strange that a
different-
bunch of different civilizations have the
Yes.
same structure. You know,
yeah,
yeah.
that is
I
kind
mean,
of
a
crazy.
pyramid is like the best shape to pile stones into, and it makes sense that you use a pyramid shape. But
Yeah.
I mean, you could do other shapes if you really wanted to. If you had the knowledge to pile up multi-ton stones in the like the pyramid in Egypt is like a big jigsaw puzzle. The way they put it together, you know.
Yeah,
If you had that kind of knowledge, you could pile stones into any shape you wanted to.
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
look at the Sphinx. The Sphinx has been around forever too, and look how it's done. You know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So they had to use that shape for some reason.
Yeah, and I think like, well, one thing I want to know is, okay, let's just assume it is an alien spaceship charging station or whatever, like they're coming over here to get power. How are they then getting power from it? Like, are they taking the space stations underground somehow? Are they leaving them above ground, but they're using some kind of cloaking technology to like camouflage themselves and then
Well, I think you can say that the Egyptian one is no longer functioning.
Yeah.
because we would notice.
Yeah,
if it
yeah,
was
yeah.
generating.
No, but
it was like
right,
the,
that's why
it was like
I'm
the
talking
first
about the
go,
black
and they're
pyramid.
like, Yeah,
That's why there's no
Or the
no
dark
triangle
pyramid.
around Egypt, you know. But there's
Right.
one in the Bermuda or Bermuda Triangle. There's one in Alaska.
they
There's a dragon
really wanted
triangle.
it to work in Egypt. They built 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm talking about the dark pyramid. Like, what about the dark one? Like, because are they just
How
gonna
you need to
land?
control it?
No, like how
No, they
are
have
they
the
gonna
aliens
get?
Like-
working it now.
You're right, but how are
Like
they
it's
getting the
the
power from
correct,
that
like-
to their spacecraft? Are they
It's
taking?
It's just like wireless electricity transfer, just
Yeah.
like Tesla's doing, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
stone frequency energy.
So basically, like they just.
And
gotta
here's
land
another
on
thing: what
top
if
of
it's
it
not
somewhere.
doing just electricity? What if it's like generating some kind of like meteor shield or some kind of thing that the Earth needs? You know, the aliens like us out with that. You know, because I mean, we got hit by so many asteroids, and then suddenly we stopped getting hit by asteroids, and the pyramids show up at the same time. And what if it's
Yeah.
generating some kind of shield for us, and that we can't detect yet?
And we do get like
Or maybe
little
it's like,
ones, so it would make sense that like the bigger
Little ones that don't really do any damage, but
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't got hit by a big one in a long time.
Right.
I mean, there are a lot of things that we can't detect yet, so maybe it's doing something with that, you know.
Yeah, it's possible. Do you think? Okay, so if aliens do have involvement here on the planet, and what do you think like their goal is? Like, why? You know, are they just using us as like, hey, this is a pit stop, or are they actually interested in us as a species, or are we not developed enough for them to really care? Or, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
What
a
do you guys
theory that
think?
I heard that I thought was good was that they came along and saw us at a certain point in our evolution. They're like, these guys are just in the right place right now. We can manipulate them and make them this in a couple thousand years, a million years, whatever, and then they can join us in space and be part of the Confederacy or whatever they have, Galactic Union, whatever.
Yeah.
So they're like, they saw these, and I mean, there's not a lot of species out there, but we have like candidacy. We could become one of those species.
Okay,
So
so
they're like, we'll help these guys along, and they'll help us along, and then maybe eventually we'll become like allies or partners or whatever.
So
sometime
they're
later.
probably involved in like niche, undercover, secret, like organizations or whatever, like the Men in Black, let's just say. And they're
Yeah.
probably teaching these concepts and like helping people understand these concepts, but
Yeah, they're like
obviously
nudging us
it
along.
takes
They don't want
time.
to do everything for us. You know, it's kind of like you
Yeah.
don't let the caterpillar out of the cocoon. You have to let it break itself out, or else it won't be strong enough to fly
Oh,
away.
it's like,
kinda that
you know,
thing.
you don't give the 10-year-old the keys to the truck, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess you can.
You gotta learn. You gotta
You
give
got
them a
to
little
teach
bit
them.
of growing pains.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
got to work with them and you got to teach them. You don't just say, "Here you go. Here's the truck. Go have fun," you know.
So they're kind of like molding us into this species they want to join them in their, you know, intergalactic whatever confederacy. Good that you hear a bunch of people say that there's multi species in the alien thing. So
Oh, I'm
Yeah, it's in
sure.
the blue book.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. There's got to be. I mean,
There's like the gray man, the lizard man.
Bigfoot. No, I'm just kidding.
There's like some aquatic guys.
look, I mean,
too.
like we don't know how life actually started, but that because there is intelligent life on one planet, I feel like there's got to be intelligent life on other planets, right? There's just way too
Yeah.
many. Like
I mean,
we can't explain it right now, but I think if it's one place, it's got to be somewhere else too. I
if
mean,
anything we've learned is that life is very tenacious. So if
right,
there's even a chance for it to be able to exist, it's going to exist.
right.
I mean, they think there's
Well,
like
and then,
there's
I mean,
like life on Io, which is just a frozen moon, but because it has water underneath the ice, they think there might be life there.
Yeah. And I mean, once life exists, then you get into the whole survival of the fittest and it's trying to adapt and evolve. And so it's like, once life does exist and it finds a way to exist somehow, or it starts existing, like it is going to find a way to survive in
Yeah.
one capacity or another. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Crazy stuff to think about. But yeah, we got a few episodes we got to do, like freaking Men in Black. I want to do
Yeah.
life on
Galactic
Mars because
Triangle.
I've heard that there's like actually really good evidence of life existing on Mars at one point, whether it was
Have you heard the theory
us
that
or-
we originally came from Mars? That we were
yeah, I've heard,
researching from
heard
Mars?
that.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got like Men in Black, we got freaking like Mars, we got Bermuda Triangle and stuff. Like we haven't done an official episode on that. We did an episode like a long time ago when we were trying to do the podcast, but we haven't done one
Isn't there a
recently.
pyramid on Mars too?
Yeah, there's pyramids on Mars, and I think I just saw like a clip of this, but I think that they match like coordinates or whatever, or certain like distances or angles or whatever. Like they have the same like parameters as the ones in Egypt or whatever too, or at least one of the ones in Egypt. So
did you ever hear that the Cheops pyramid is in the exact center of all the landmass of the Earth?
No, I haven't heard that.
But if you take a line from the pyramid and go around the Earth and all the directions, it hits the most landmass. So it's like in the very middle of the
pyramid
Earth.
episode, just on pyramids alone.
Yeah, pyramids episode. So man, we got a lot of stuff to look forward to. We're at the 50-minute mark.
So what do you guys think? Is there a possibility that the Dark Pyramid exists, or is this just a story this guy made up? Or
I mean, here's what I think. So I think it's very possible that this is just some bullshit story that some guy made up. But it does kind of explain some other things that aren't. Yeah, it has some corroborating things that aren't necessarily connected to it, inherently. So like the Stargate story of the person like locating, or the person like seeing what they saw, like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It could be a hoax, it certainly could, but it doesn't really make much sense. But then you also have got the Bermuda Triangle style of things going on too. It's like, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the electromagnetism activity and stuff that's in the area that's causing all these problems with flying crafts and everything, like something has to explain that. Whether you think it's a pyramid or not, it doesn't really matter what it is. Something has to explain it because it's happening. And
there's anomalies. There's got to be some reason for it.
Right. So there's got to be something that explains it. And this is at least a solution for a lot of those things. So
I don't know. Explain all the UFOs that they see there too.
It would explain the UFO activity. It would explain the missing people. It would explain the. Now, just because it does explain these things doesn't mean it's true. But at the same time,
it's hard for say that it's true without having any kind of evidence. Any kind of photographs or these are just a couple guys' stories that kind of corroborate, but they don't have any actual evidence. So, but it's a very interesting story, but I don't know if we can 100% say it's
even factual. So, I feel like. Okay, answer this question for me. When they Google Earthed this on the podcast that you listened to, what did they actually see? Is it just a blank area? Does it look like it was scrubbed or something? Does it
just look like a forest to me, like forest.
It just looks like a forest. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I was going to say, because sometimes I've seen some Google Earth stuff of like underwater, like pathways and things that look like it was like scrubbed out or it was like wiped off of the of the satellite view or whatever. So I was wondering if it was going to be kind of the same situation or not, but I don't know. I think it's a possibility. I think it explains a lot of things that we have questions about. And
it's an interesting story no matter what. So.
Yeah, I do think, because the conspiracy started in 1992, right, with some guy who saw this stuff or whatever. But then all these disappearances and everything else happened years later. So like, it's not like the dude predicted all that stuff was going to happen and he just made up the conspiracy to account for all these things, because he made it up way before it happened. So I don't know. I feel like that is kind of a curious point too. Like, it would make sense if somebody came up with a hoax and then they backtracked and they said, and it explains all this and this and this and this and this, because they made it up, right? But
they retconned it.
Yeah, they retconned it. But that would make sense if that were the case, but it doesn't seem like that's really the case. So it's interesting that somebody proposed a theory that now is explaining more, present and more modern things. So...
And it's interesting they use the pyramid as a electrical generation source when we have these other theories that come out about the pyramid in Egypt being an electrical generator source. And that one. I mean, I'm sure that theory's been out for a while, so maybe they heard that and they will put two together. But That was an interesting story all around. So
Honestly, it's like the Black Pyramid thing is true. It's fucking bullshit because we're paying for electricity and we're having electricity troubles. It's just like,
yeah, they have
Make
this free
pyramids.
electricity all this time, and they never give it out. So
Yeah.
You're fueling the fucking airships of fucking aliens, but you're not doing your citizens.
Right, you're exactly. Which also does kind of make me lean towards the Men in Black being like an international kind of thing, because what if they're like, okay, yeah, the Black Pyramid can power all of the US, but excuse me, we're the Russians and we're not going to like just allow you to give the give our foreign, adversary freaking all the power. Meanwhile, we're not getting anything. So like, come on, guys.
yeah, it's gotta be fair.
You
Yeah,
can't give them the power unless you're going to give us the power, and we don't have a freaking pyramid yet. So what the hell? Like, come on. And so, like, I don't know. I could see that, but then at the same time, I could see if we did just give everybody unlimited power, like that would freaking throw our entire economic system into chaos.
Yeah.
Like you can't just immediately flip the switch and be like, hey guys, unlimited power for everyone.
You don't pay your bills anymore. You don't have to
It's like,
charge
okay,
your cars.
how, what? Like, what are we gonna do now with all the freaking power stations and all the power companies and all those people who had jobs are now completely jobless? And also, not only that, but everything that they did is valueless now. You can't just sell it. You can't, you can't just get rid of it. No one cares. It means nothing because you have unlimited energy now. So
Yeah,
it's like,
it would mean economical collapse.
Exactly. And so, but with that said, it's like, man, I don't know. With that said, like if you could harness the energy and then provide the energy to the power companies and stuff with the requirement that they like lower
you
their
just,
prices
like, trickle
to
a little in,
particular...
a little bit at a time,
Yeah, but even
just,
then,
supplement the current electricity.
Even then, there's people like I have family that has solar panels on their on their on their roofs, and during like the summer months and stuff, like they're making more power than they're using, so they're actually giving power to the power companies, but the power companies are still charging them a month. It's really low, like they're not charging them very much, but they're still charging them per month, even though they're making more power than they're using. So it's like, I don't know how you get around that. But I would hope that one day, if this is all true, if this is all the case, that we progress towards that in some way, shape, or form, because Tori, you're absolutely right. Like if the technology exists, like, and we're giving it to the aliens, like what the hell? We should be giving it to our people too. Like, yeah. So, anyways.
One other theory the guy said on the video is that the aliens are controlling it and they wouldn't tell us how they were doing it. So
that makes more sense to me too, especially if you've got the alien giving the dude orientation and stuff. I feel like the aliens own and operate this, and they're saying
they're not telling you where the secret insides are, but they're just telling you how to mop these floors, check these gauges. And
what if the Men in Black actually just work for the aliens?
All right, we'll get to Men in Black later because some people say they are aliens. So
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, that was a cool story. That's a cool theory. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, it's a little known story that's very interesting. So
yeah,
very little known.
All right, guys. If you're watching this now or later, thank you for watching. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are on the Dark Pyramid. I keep wanting to say Black Pyramid for some reason because you said Black Stone and all that. So like, but anyways, the Dark Pyramid. Let us know what you guys think about the Dark Pyramid. What your theories are. Maybe you've heard something that we didn't talk about. Like, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the Men in Black and the aliens. And is it a gas station or an airport or whatever, right? Let us know what your guys' thoughts are.
Next.
Yes, let us know what show. We talked about some different options during this episode.
Give us a suggestion. We will follow it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if you guys recommend,
it's a lot
stuff,
easier on us. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, any ideas or thoughts you guys have on even just the podcast in general? Let us know what you guys think, and make sure to follow us on all the social media platforms in the bottom left corner of the video. And except for TikTok, because we're suspended on that platform for some reason. I still haven't figured out why. So, yeah. All right. I think that does it for this episode. Good episode, guys. And everybody, thanks for watching. Hit the like, follow, and subscribe button and the notification bell for next week when we go live. And find out next week what we'll talk about. I think it's Tori who's leading that one, yeah?
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, next week we will see what happens. Okay, see you guys. Have a good one. Oh, wait, we don't have a... Did you give me an outro song?
Yeah.